So let me share this little story with you. Actually, it's a true story. A true unfortunate story. So there I am, sitting on my hairdresser's chair, getting my new perm. This hairdresser was recommended to me by a family member, so I had no reason to doubt her expertise. So my fate was in her hands. So the hairdresser began to apply the hair relaxer. She applied it to my roots and she applied it to the bulk of my hair. Less than, I'll say, 2 or 3 minutes later, it felt like somebody just lighted a match directly on top of my scalp. I was ignoring it for a couple of seconds because it wasn't my first relaxer. I know they burn, but heck, they didn't burn that much. They didn't burn like I was Michael Jackson in that Pepsi commercial. I started screaming like you don't know, man. I screamed so badly that probably heard me from here to California or somewhere. So the hairdresser took me and ducked my head into the sink and began washing off the relaxer. I was still screaming. I was still a teenager. I think I was about 13, maybe even 14. It was one of the worst experiences of my relaxing days. Then she took that sea breeze and sprayed it on my scalp. She may as well killed me. I almost died that day. I almost died. I never experienced such pain in my life. Such horrifying pain in my entire life. And I have experienced some pain, trust me. But up to that point anyway. Turns out the licensed hairdresser forgot to put on the base that goes on before you relax the hair to avoid tragic situations like these. Also turns out that she wasn't that experienced at all. She didn't have that long in the hair salon doing people's hair. She was there less than a year. But she was new in the neighborhood. My family member knew about her. She must have spoken to her. She must have been a nice lady. And so she was recommended and I went. Does this little story, this little true story, this little true horrifying story sound very, very familiar to any of you ladies out there? I'm willing to bet $1,000,000 it does. So-called licensed hairdressers thinking they know what they're doing because they have a little license to show off, burning people's head off. Instead of trimming the hair, they cut the hair off. Trying to be Picasso on your hair. And thus ruining some of our hair for many, many years and sometimes for life, causing permanent hair damage. Thankfully, no permanent hair damage was caused. But guess what was caused? Scabs. Yep. Scabs. Those scab burns that come out when a hair relaxer is left on too long, when it's put on without a base. Yeah, those are scabs. And they hurt like the devil. And I'm sure you ladies know what I'm talking about. You've been there. Yes, you have. You've definitely been there. So I'm going to address this scab thing right quick, because I know maybe some of us have scabs as I speak. And you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. You're scratching at it, you're picking at it, and it hurts, and it's, oh, I don't want to get into the vulgar details, but it just gets so gross sometimes. It gets gross. So, what is a scab burn? A scab burn occurs when a scab forms over the sore of a scalp burn. So the relaxer basically burns your scalp, and that's why the scab is forming over the sore. This is why you should never pick at it, ladies. It is a sore. You gotta treat it like a real burn. Many ladies have experienced permanent scalp damage because they start picking at the scab burns. One, because it starts itching. Two, because you just don't want it there. I didn't want it there. And you start picking at it, and that causes permanent damage to your follicles. In severe cases, it causes permanent damage to your follicles. So number one, do not pick at your scalp burns. The scabs, not the scalp, but the scabs. Do not pick at them. Okay? Try to avoid manipulating those scabs. Please do not manipulate those scabs. Alright? Number two, make sure your hairdresser uses that darn base on your scalp, your temples, and the nape. This is to protect your scalp from the damaging effects of the hair relaxer. Okay? And if you don't think she's gonna put no base on your scalp, I suggest you do it yourself. I definitely encourage you ladies to try to take care of your hair yourself. You will be 10 billion times better off. Shima takes care of her own hair. She doesn't let so-called licensed hairdressers manipulate her hair. It would have to be a super special occasion for me to go to a hairdresser nowadays. Okay? Okay. Now, how do we treat these scab burns? Well, I suggest you try pure vitamin E oil. Why pure vitamin E oil? Because it will help to soften the scab. Apply once or twice daily, gently with the pads of your fingers, not your nails. The pads of your fingers gently. And let it set. Pure vitamin E oil. Okay, it's very good for the skin. If the scab burns happens to be very severe, try Neosporin. It's great for treating the burns. Alright? Or simply just start gently washing it off with your shampoo. The best thing you can do is just basically allow the scab burns to go away on their own. But I know we're impatient. We want it to go away now. So again, pure vitamin E oil to help soften the scab, or Neosporin if the scab burn is not too severe, but it burns so badly that you just can't stand it. Alright? Or simply just wash it off with your shampoo, gently dabbing at the scabs. You can also change hairstylists. Why would you go to one of these hairstylists that don't know the first thing about hair? It's beyond me. So if I were you, I would change hairstylists in a jiffy. Or don't let your friends or your sisters or family members that don't know what they're doing into your hair. No, that's okay, little sis or big sis. That's okay, mama. No. That's okay, cousin. No. Stay out of my freaking hair.